Welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever noticed a very specific, undeniable shift that happens to you every single autumn? I'm talking about that totally relatable modern mystery where suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, you just start feeling kind of different as the leaves begin to turn. Well, today we are going to unpack a wild biological phenomenon that affects nearly every single one of us. And trust me, by the end of this explainer, you are absolutely never going to look at a cold, dark evening the same way again.
So, why am I always hungry in October? I bet you've asked yourself this exact thing. Right around October, it starts. You get hungrier than usual, you crave heavier foods, we're talking the carbs, the fats, something warm and incredibly dense. And on top of that, you probably feel a little slower, a little less motivated, and maybe you literally just want to sleep more. And every single year, what do? We chalk it up to the dreary weather outside or stress at work or just the general busyness of life. You might even feel a bit guilty about your sudden, mysterious lack of willpower.
But here is a massive paradigm shift for you. That guilt you're feeling, just let it go. The real reason you're acting this way is buried about 1 million years deep in your biology, and honestly, it has absolutely nothing to do with the cold outside. Your cravings aren't a lack of willpower. Your body is actually preparing for a famine that isn't coming. This is a million-year-old biological survival program, and it is executing perfectly in your modern body. Your genes still expect this devastating famine to arrive every single autumn without fail.
Section 1. 1 million years of famine.
To put this into perspective, think about the vast scale of human history. Agriculture, the invention that finally gave us a reliable food supply, only began roughly 12,000 years ago. But for 1 million years before that, which is like 99% of human history, winter was not just a minor inconvenience where you had to remember to grab a heavier coat. No, it was a recurring annual extinction-level threat. Plants died, animals migrated or hibernated, rivers completely froze over, the food supply totally collapsed. So, your ancestors had exactly two choices: store enough energy in their bodies before the winter arrived, or die. The ones who survived to pass on their genes, they were the ones whose bodies responded the most aggressively to the early warning signs of autumn.
Section 2. The winter hunger signal.
The crucial trigger for all of this is a chemical called neuropeptide Y, or NPY for short. As daylight hours start to shorten in the autumn, this tiny region at the base of your brain called the hypothalamus picks up the signal. Now, it doesn't care about the temperature drop, it only cares about the fading light. When it notices the days getting shorter, it absolutely floods your system with NPY. NPY is your body's literal binge trigger. It practically shoves you away from salads and lean proteins and pushes you directly toward fat and sugar. It is demanding dense, storable energy. This is the exact same chemical instinct that drives bears to eat up to 20,000 calories a day to prep for a 5 to 7 month hibernation. Your body is basically running a lighter version of that exact same bear program. It doesn't know the local supermarket exists, it just knows daylight is fading, and the last time that happened, all the food disappeared.
Which leads us to a fascinating and, slightly frustrating modern consequence. Studies consistently show that humans gain an average of 1 to 2 pounds every single winter. That might sound super small, but when you stack that up year after year, here's the part nobody really talks about. Most people never fully lose that specific weight in the spring. Why? Well, because for your ancestors, that winter fat wasn't a mistake to be burned off on a treadmill come April. It was savings. It was literally a biological insurance policy. Your body rigorously protects those reserves just in case the next winter comes early or lasts a little longer. You multiply that tiny 1.5-pound gain over a decade, or 2 decades, and you've got one of the main drivers of gradual weight accumulation over a modern lifetime.
Section 3. Your brain in winter.
The sheer scale of this chemical shift inside you is just staggering. Between your summer brain and your winter brain, purely because there's less sunlight, your serotonin production, the chemical responsible for mood stability, focus, and social drive, drops by up to 30%. But at the exact same time, your melatonin production, which is your body's hormonal command to sleep and slow down, surges by a massive 80%. This combination drastically reduces your mood and your desire to go out and be social. You are literally supposed to withdraw. Conserving energy was vital for a pre-agricultural human, and as researcher Matthew Walker over at UC Berkeley has documented, this exact chemical shift is why humans sleep an average of 25 to 30 minutes longer per night in the winter months. It's a real evolutionary echo of ancestral torpor. And honestly, the brain chemistry is just the start. The rest of your body is aggressively preparing for a harsh environment too. First, your cortisol levels drop by an average of 17%, which naturally brings down your alertness and your stress tolerance.
You literally have less energy to deal with daily problems. Second, research from Andrew Hayward at University College London confirms your immune system actually upregulates. Your body preemptively cranks up inflammation to defend against cold weather pathogens, which is exactly why you might feel physically heavier and a bit achy. Finally, researchers at Cambridge University found that your blood clotting factors significantly increase in the winter. Think about that. Your body is literally thickening your blood, preparing for the risk of physical wounds and harsh survival conditions that, for most of us, simply do not exist anymore. Now, for most of us, this seasonal slowdown is just kind of uncomfortable, but in northern latitudes, this survival program runs so intensely that up to 20% of people in countries like Finland and Iceland are affected by seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. It also hits about 10% of people in other northern latitudes. SAD isn't a personality weakness, and it definitely isn't a mindset problem. It is simply the ancestral winter survival program running at absolute maximum intensity in a modern body. It demands you reduce energy expenditure, withdraw socially, and feel a bit hopeless, because in a true famine, being optimistic and burning precious energy is a metabolic luxury you just cannot afford.
So, what does this all mean for us? How do we treat it? Well, the most effective treatment discovered so far for seasonal affective disorder is light therapy. By exposing your eyes to really bright artificial light in the morning, you are essentially mimicking those long summer days that your ancestral brain desperately expects. The absolute most effective evolutionary cure for a million-year-old survival program is simply tricking your